Hey guys, what is going on? Lee Sanders here, a very well-rested Lee Sanders here, back with you guys. This is your edition of the RCWR show for December 2nd, 2019, Monday night of December 2nd, 2019. Here we are just a couple of more weeks into this calendar year of 2019 and 2020. Boom. Right there around the corner. This year has gone by really, really fast. I guess that means I've been having a lot of fun. I'm not really sure. I'll take it though. I just don't want time to go past too fast, right? Because then it's kind of like, wait a minute, I didn't get to slow down and enjoy some of the finer things in life. But yes, a very well-rested Lee Sanders. Happy to be back with you guys. I hope your Thanksgiving weekend was fine. And yes, from here on out, you may call me, you, the congregation, you may call me Deacon Sanders, as this is the month of Deacon Sanders. Reason why I'm called Deacon Sanders, this is the month of my birthday, so I am taking contributions. I have a collection plate that's going around all throughout social media. If there are those of you that, if there are those of you that would love to make a very generous contribution, amen, you will definitely be blessed, my child. You definitely will be blessed. Yes, Lord, you will be blessed many times over, whether it is with Twizzlers, Cheetos, or a simple thank you. You will definitely be blessed. No, seriously, I have a birthday this month, so I've been passing around an Amazon wish list. So if there are those of you that got Twitter or Facebook and, you know, maybe you want to look at the wish list, because I mean, it's got all kinds of cool stuff that works with any budget. So if there's those of you that maybe want to take a look at it and you sincerely, like, legit, don't just, I want to see what you got on your list, man. And then, you know, legitimately, if you want to give me a birthday present, just hit me up on one of those social media outlets and I'll probably message you the link, and you know, you're able to get something, great. If you're not, I mean, look, you got your own family. Think about it at the end of the day. But yeah, so that, and also this just that time of the year. I'm always acting like, because I've got birthday and Christmas pretty much bam, bam. So I'm usually just Deacon Sanders. So from here on out, you may call me Deacon Sanders. I'm going to be Deacon Sanders even long after Christmas. You can pretty much continue to call me Deacon Sanders until January 1st, 2020. That is when Deacon Sanders will retire. So look, oh my God, Raw tonight, let's be honest, not really that good. Yeah, I mean, it was, I tell you this, it was refreshing to be on vacation, not look at anything wrestling related, up until late Saturday night going into Sunday. That's when it really crept up on me, and it was kind of, to borrow a verse from one of my favorite Alice in Chains songs, into the flood again, same old trip it was back then. So back in my mind, I'm going, you got to do your research, right? You got to start prepping, because Monday is around the corner. You got to do it, right? And like, yeah, but I've been enjoying just decompressing a bit, just taking a nice mental break and just recharging and all that. And it's, let me go ahead and get back into this whole thing. And there was a couple of things I had dodged. I did not check out WWE StarCast. I know about the results, though. I know that's probably not the same for some of you guys, but I mean, for me, WWE doing StarCast Thanksgiving weekend, for me, that was just, yeah, man. No. That's no bueno. No bueno. Come on now, really? You got Ric Flair out there. Oh, I don't care if the Patriots are playing. Woo! And it's like, well, you might not care that the Patriots are playing, but there's a lot of families out there that aren't really in that wrestling mode right now, but to each its own. But yeah, for me, it was just all about a mental decompressing these past several days. I love it when I take this little bit of a break, but Raw tonight was just a so-so episode. And the fact that I can only find but a couple of bright spots, for me, that's not really enough. That's really not enough, especially when at this point you're trying to sell me on WWE TLC, which is basically like, ooh, a week and a half. I'm looking at the calendar right now, and next week we're pretty much gonna be, yeah. So I'm looking at this right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we're a little bit more than a week and a half away from WWE TLC. And I did not see any progression tonight that would, hey, we got this pay-per-view, let's sell, hit it hard, hit it fast, let's go. Let's build these story arcs, let's go there. And for me, I'm just sitting there, okay, other than some of these matches I'm seeing tonight, yeah, the main event match was good there. Who that all consists of? You had all three members of the OC. They took on Ricochet, Humberto Carrillo, and Rey Mysterio. Yeah, that was pretty good. The nice little spot there with Randy Orton. Yeah, that was all nice, right? So essentially, we've got on the one hand, Randy Orton intertwining with the OC, but then he's also intertwining with Drew McIntyre because, as we saw earlier in the night, storyline there, Drew McIntyre doesn't like that Randy Orton is running around acting like his shit smells so good. He feels that Randy Orton has this self-entitlement, and Randy pretty much counters back and is saying, well, I'm acting the way that I'm acting because I've earned that right. I've earned the right to be able to act a certain way. I've paid all my dues. That's what's basically it's called, and I have cachet. But that answer really didn't suffice with Drew McIntyre and OC coming out there, getting involved in everything. You're going, oh, okay, well, that's a nice little new wrinkle that we're throwing into the mix and everything. But see, what I didn't really appreciate was the fact that, okay, so Drew McIntyre excuses himself because he sees that Randy Orton is about to get a beatdown. So he is pretty much happy with that, right? Okay, so we never see Drew McIntyre again for the rest of the night, okay? And look, I will gladly come on here, and I have. You guys got to give me a lot of credit. Like, with this year coming to an end, I have been more, hey, this wasn't that bad from WWE RAW. Hey, this wasn't that bad from SmackDown. I've been more proactive as best as humanly possible while still offering constructive criticism. That's the key thing. We got some people that misconstrue some of the things that we say on here as hate and man, all we can do is say nothing but no. What we offer is constructive feedback. We analyze what we got from these respected shows. We talk about the good, the bad, the indifferent, ways that those things that were indifferent or that were bad can be improved upon, and then go from there. This isn't shit, and for the whole freaking hour plus that we do the shows and everything. But we never see Drew McIntyre again. If Drew popped up again, I must have been making something to eat. Well, no, I actually haven't eaten dinner yet. I've been busy pretty much working on some stuff for clients, and then I was working on some personal stuff for one of our Patreon members, or a couple of Patreon members actually. And so I was kind of in and out, but when I was sitting down, mainly in front of the computer, doing some editing, I didn't see Drew McIntyre after that spot. So if something went down, I don't know nothing about it. But you would have thought that the way Raw would have closed tonight, okay, everybody has forgotten about Drew McIntyre. Okay, this is a good opportunity here. Yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll let Randy Orton do his thing. He'll do the RKO on AJ Styles. Just when everybody is about to go home happy, we'll just have Drew McIntyre come out of nowhere. Wham! Claymore kick, lay his ass out. And he's got that smug little freaking look on his face, and he's just putting his hands out there. Told you I was going to get you. I told you, Randy Orton, I was going to get my hands on you. I was going to get my hands on you. You could have at least had it go off like that. That way you're setting up next Monday's Raw, right? That friction that's going on between AJ and Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre and all that, how everything is just intertwining, blending in with the OC, all that good stuff. But the main event match, yes, it was good. It was definitely good. It was nice and strong, but I always say go out strong, grr, when you can, right? And that was a missed opportunity right there. Like I said, there was no build for this TLC pay-per-view coming up in a week and a half. Big problem with that. The other match that was good tonight, I definitely got to give a nod to the Charlotte Flair handicap match as she took on the Kabuki Warriors. That was good. I enjoyed that. I wish it was more handicapped, though. That's the only thing. I wish it didn't feel so, okay, Charlotte's taking on this person, and meanwhile, the other person is kind of knocked out of it because Charlotte did something to them, so they are incapacitated for a little bit. While Charlotte, I wish it was more of a true handicap, 2-on-1 kind of a thuggish, we're coming at you like two Rockweilers. I wish it was more like that as opposed to, for me, it just felt more of a traditional handicap tag match, basically, is where I'm getting at. And it was still a good match for those moments, because let's be honest, this was really about Charlotte fighting Asuka for a majority of the match. Homegirl Kairi Sane was just little spots here and there, gets beat up by Charlotte, but that pretty much was it. She get a hit and she's out of it for a little bit and pretty much rinse repeat or whatever. But then towards the end, yeah, we saw Kairi Sane get even a little bit more physical and everything, trying to help out her girl and everything. That spot was okay. That whole match, it was okay. But then it leaves a burning question in my mind, which is who is going to eventually be partnering up with Charlotte Flair to even up the odds against the Kabuki Warriors? That's the one thing that I'm really worried about. And if we had any type of consistency, I just think to at least put a ribbon around it, I still feel just what I said some weeks ago. And this is where I kind of have to bridge the gap a little bit as far as storyline consistency or at least continuity, not even from a storyline standpoint, just from continuity standpoint. So we can have Booker T show up and he can do these pre-shows and all that other stuff, and he can go do WWE backstage. Same deal with Christian, and to a certain extent, same deal with Paige. Okay, well, let me home in on Paige for a little bit. You just gave her a new multi-year deal, right? I say you better get your money's worth, and you better make that woman go out there and work that ass. You better put her in front of them damn cameras. So you still have that story arc left out there in the wind where she was betrayed by the Kabuki Warriors and she's yet to extract revenge on them. So I personally would like to see an angle come about where maybe Charlotte Flair tries to take these girls on once again and then loses. She's frustrated. She's on a warpath. She's just throwing stuff all over the place backstage or whatnot, and then she lays eyes on Paige and goes, "What the hell are you doing here? I don't have the time to talk to you right now. Seriously, I have got nothing to say to you." You see Charlotte with this dumbfounded look on her face, and you're wondering who she's talking to, and the camera just pans away, and it's Paige, and Paige just basically says, "Look, I know exactly how you're feeling right now. Trust me, I have a very good idea. But all I need is about 5 minutes of your time. I think it's worth your while. I think you and me may be able to help each other out. Take a commercial break, come right back." And by the way, as I always do with these shows, everything that I'm putting out here, I didn't think about this days before. Oh, that'd be a good thing to say. Let me write that down. No, this is freestyle. There's no script. I have the bullet points in my head as far as an idea of what I want to talk about, what comes out of my mouth. I have no control over, right? Okay. So you come back from a commercial break or whatever, go to your next match, whatever. You come on back, you home in on Paige, Charlotte Flair. Paige goes, "So what do you think?" And Charlotte can go, I think you're crazy for wanting to do this, but you got me convinced. I think this is what we need to do. All right, so I guess I'll see you out there later tonight, maybe? Like, I'll think about it, but we'll see, right? Follow it up a little while later. You have Charlotte come on out, challenge the Kabuki Warriors to a match at TOC, and basically say, hey, I'm not going to be coming alone. I'm going to find a partner. And the Kabuki Warriors could be making fun. Like, you can definitely say the Kabuki Warriors did not see the backstage segment stuff with Paige and all that, right? But then you can have Paige pop up there and give the illusion that maybe Paige is going to be having her in-ring return or whatever, because everybody likes to speculate and everybody wants to have their all of a sudden their Barbara Walters investigative hat on, and we see how that blows up in their face a majority of the time, right? And basically, I'm like this. Who haven't we seen in a good minute? And then most importantly, where are they on their road to recovery? Is it a case where maybe they are at 100% already and we just don't know about it, and it's a case of figuring out the right angle to bring them in? So I'm looking at two people that's on my list right now. Now, the latter one is probably still a couple of months away from a full recovery and a full in-ring return. And let's get her name out there off the break. Nia Jax. That would be an interesting alliance. Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair. Right? That would be interesting. But I don't think she's quite there just yet. The other person I was thinking of, and she's been kind of relatively quiet, still posts a lot of stuff on social media and everything like that. Pictures, whole 9 yards. No, not Ronda Rousey, right? Ain't no telling what's going on with her, but I wasn't thinking Ronda Rousey. Actually, no, the person I was thinking of, and depending on where she is with her recovery, I'm thinking about Ruby Wyatt. What is going on with her? Now, remember, following the disbandment of the Riot Squad, she had underwent shoulder surgery to repair a bilateral injury. This was back in May. And then a couple of months later, she had underwent the same procedure on her shoulder. Again, this was in August. Now, I've got to do a little bit more research as far as with the type of surgeries that she had. What is the estimated recovery time and all that? And the one thing that I do not know, which is I know during the 2019 shakeup or whatever, Morgan was moved to SmackDown Live. So essentially that pretty much broke everybody up. So you still got Liv Morgan. Not Liv Morgan, correction. You still have Sarah Logan and Ruby Riott on Raw. So that being the case, do you maybe, depending on where she is, like I said, I got to research. And if anybody wants to shed some light, you've had that type of injury before. It doesn't matter if you were an athlete or not. If you had that same type of injury before and you can shed light or you have knowledge, right? Because I don't know, maybe some of you guys study medicine and all that. I'm not going to put it past you guys. You guys are a very smart bunch of listeners out there, which I appreciate tremendously every week. Then depending on where she is with that type of surgery that was done, if she's at 100%, then maybe she's the one that's even going to slide in there, right? If you want to maybe try to elevate somebody, try to get them to that next tier. And this is where I have a problem, once again, going with consistency and all that. So we see Liv Morgan. Look, we can say whatever we want to say about Liv Morgan and just, man, she's just, whether it's the character or just the overall presentation, the overall execution in the ring, we can say whatever we want to say, right? But let's home in on this fact. This is something that we all can agree on. When you look at key people that had took part in Survivor Series and doing the woman on woman on woman, 5-on-5-on-5 elimination match and all that, you had girls like Sarah Logan that was part of that. And so to not immediately follow up behind that, right? So, okay, so, all right, she filled in that spot and now she's gone again, right? if you're trying to figure out what you can do with a girl like Sarah Logan, I know fans don't really like her, but at least I'm trying to look at the damn glass half full and say, all right, well, look, she doesn't have any story arc that's going on right now. You want to put her back into the midst of things. All right, pair her up with Charlotte Flair. Let them rub off of each other for a little bit. Yeah, Charlotte Flair will eventually get another run as the women's tag champion and everything. But, in the meantime, let Charlotte Flair take this detour and pair up with Sarah Logan. And, really, it is, I feel, Sarah Logan that, if anything, will be able to elevate her game even more by being paired up with someone like a Charlotte Flair, right? So, and if you're not going to go in that direction, then I can't help but wonder, well, who else are you going to go with? It doesn't feel like they're going to go in a Tamina direction. I can't remember if Tamina's on Raw or SmackDown. I could have sworn I saw Tamina recently resurface on the Raw side of things. It's kind of coming back to me now, too, because she had won the 24/7 title, I remember, and it was on Raw. This was after the draft, if I remember it right. So, but it doesn't feel like Tamina is maybe going to be the one that's going to slide in there. So it's kind of very weird right now. As far as your options go, your options are very limited as far as who can slide in there, pair up with Charlotte, somebody that makes sense, right? Now, you could also make the argument, well, we haven't seen Natty in a couple of weeks. You could definitely slide Natty in there. All that rich history between Charlotte and Natty, going back to the great match that they had NXT a couple of years ago, and just all of that. Okay, a lot of history right there. Okay, you might be able to do a little something with that as well. But I need to see some type of, no matter who the partner is, I need to see some type of an incorporation with Paige so that Paige can, I got my revenge finally. Because if anybody knows the secrets, holds a little bit of intel, I'm using the quotations, as far as how you can try to take these girls down and everything like that. A girl like Paige, even though she was out more than when she managed them, she's still, storyline wise, you can easily patch it up, is the point that I'm making. Another issue I had with Raw tonight, the Viking Raiders. I got to talk about the Viking Raiders for a minute. Look, I love the guys. Love them tremendously. Here's my problem. And I think even you guys would agree with this. I didn't see anybody talking about this on social media, and I was going to put it out there, but I said, no. I'm going to purposely save this for the show. And then afterwards, we're going to see how many people are right. And I'll usually follow up on this point tomorrow or whatever, which is this. All right, the Viking Raiders are your Raw Tag Champions, right? Okay, riddle me this. Why are we continuing to see them take on local guys every single week? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. And let me double down on that point even more. So we see the Viking Raiders. They're kind of playing up to the crowd a little bit. They're hyping up each other, right? But they're definitely hyping up the crowd, trying to get them into their chants, war cries, all that other stuff and everything, right? Okay, this is what I need to understand right now. Are the Viking Raiders baby faces or are they heels? Because somebody, in this case of the argument, a heel tag team that keeps fighting local guys, created wrestlers, as I like to call them, right? You look at that and you say, well, that's great what you're doing to these local guys, right? These guys that are just coming up, quotations again, that are just coming up on the roster and everything. But how about some real challengers, right? How about you face some real competition instead of messing around with these French fries, right? These small fries. These are just appetizers, right? It almost kind of feels like Rocky 3. And Rocky 3, he's now been on top of the world for a good minute now. And he's just continuing to win fight after fight after fight. And Mickey breaks it down to him the hard way that, nah, man, all the fights that I've got you hooked up with, those were weaker opponents, because that last fight you had against Apollo Creed, it did a serious number on you, physically, not just mentally, but physically. And I was trying to do all I could to protect you. But this guy, Clubber Lang, now he's the real deal. He's going to knock your goddamn head off your block, right? And remember that? Remember Rocky 3? So when I look at the Viking Raiders, it's okay, that's great. You got these W's that you're getting on mostly these local guys, right? But what about some real defining competition? We saw you throw it down, Survivor Series elimination there, that little whatever that was, trifecta or quadruple, whatever the hell the number was of tag teams that was in there. That's great. You're supposed to continue to build off of that. If you have a really great performance in that and everything, and yeah, you should be building from that storyline wise. So for me, that was really, really seeing them tonight. Okay, are they heels? Because if they're heels, then it's justified. That shuts up my whole argument altogether. If they're heels, okay, so they're dodging the real challengers, right? They're dodging actual competition. Okay, I'm fine with that, if that's the story that we're trying to tell. But the way that they're coming out so far, everything suggests otherwise. They're baby faces. And I need to start seeing these guys cut a promo like next week and say, hey, we want some real competition. We have faced every single team that has been thrown at us so far, but it seems that we're so intimidating that there's nobody in the back that wants a piece of us. I'm looking at some of these veteran guys. What's going on? Hey, we're going to have an open challenge at TLC. Anybody that feels like they can come in the ring and take us on for these tag titles, come see us this Sunday. I need to see something, right? Something. So that's my gripe with Viking Raiders right now. That's the only gripe. Only gripe I have. They're coming along. I just need for them to continue to successfully build off of what they did at Survivor Series. So sooner that gets worked out, the better. I'm trying to think if there's any other matches to talk about tonight that was noteworthy, and there's really nothing else that's screaming in my mind right now to talk about even more. The stuff with Lana, look, let me tell you something, man. I ain't gonna even lie. Lana Spelled Backwards is just fine with me, because god damn, what a killer ass outfit. What a nice banging shape. And oh my god, if anything, if I had one little piece of criticism, I just felt she had too much makeup on, especially around the face. I don't know what was going on with the lips. I don't know if she recently had got some Botox done or what, but her lips looked extra juicy tonight. Not in a yummy and yum. All I want is your kiss, right? I'm doing the Tom Jones version, not the Prince version. I just want that extra time of your, kiss. Yeah, that for me. I don't know what's going on. It seems like the past several weeks now, her face has looked a little bit more puffier around the cheeks. It looks a little more swollen. Definitely around the lips. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just hairstyle. I don't know. I'm giving her an exit. Maybe I just don't really look at her like that, right? I'll leave that up for you guys, because I don't really be looking at the women like that. But she was looking extra sexalicious tonight. I know that's not a word, but I'm going with it for tonight. Especially that banging ass. What was she wearing tonight? A banging ass lime green outfit. And I'm telling you, the breast assist was just all over the place. I felt myself kind of drooling at one point. I felt as though we was getting ready to watch a slip on live TV there. Good God almighty. That was just, But that's about as nice as I can be with how she looked tonight. The segment there, I didn't particularly care for it. Her slapping the hell out of the cops. They had one responsibility. All they had to do was make sure nothing had happened to Lashley while he had his match. I can't even remember his opponent now. Who was the opponent that Lashley had faced tonight? But yeah, he had that match. Rusev comes from out of nowhere. Attacks begin. Keep in mind there was another restraining order put in place and all that. So, here's another instance right here where this is another story arc where, okay, we keep seeing these every single city. We keep seeing these. Oh, I need to get some type of a restraining order, right? All right, so at the end of the day, this is essentially hurting Rusev and it's hurting his bottom dollar and everything. Okay, in the real world, you have a situation where, hey, you really got to keep your distance, because if you keep doing this, then we're not going to have any other choice than to fire you from the company, right? So basically my point is, pretty soon we need to see some type of a authority figure pop up and remedy this, like, once and for all. And I'm surprised that with this type of a story arc, that one David Otunga has not gotten involved, because normally we've seen some story arcs over the years where if things were pretty sticky from a legal standpoint, usually David Otunga gets inserted. So I need to see something that comes about. I think in this rare instance where David Otunga is incorporated and David Otunga comes out and says, hey, I have a simple solution. I have a simple remedy to all of this that should make all parties happy and everybody is able to go their way once and for all, right? You can kind of go in that direction. But then here's the other thing that you got to think about as well. If Rusev is constantly in this position where he keeps getting restraining order, then the most simplistic story arc you can look at is, okay, well, why doesn't Rusev just go to another show? Or why doesn't Lana and Lashley go to another show? And that idea sounds really cool, right? But when you stop and you really think about it a bit more, that would actually put a strain on Rusev and Lana's marriage. So sadly, you can't really go in that direction, right? So the end result obviously is a case where once and for all, these two guys, they have a match. And I think in this case, it's going to need to be some type of a unsanctioned match. Like, basically everything goes. WWE is not responsible for whatever happens, right? Make it a non-sanctioned match, basically, right? As far as the win-loss record and all that goes, nothing matters. Nothing is going to be documented. Let these guys just beat the holy living hell out of each other. And when it's all said and done, this is basically it. No more. Both parties go their separate way, or all parties go their separate ways. And if all parties do not go their separate way after that, then the next step would be automatic termination, right? The hell with, we're going to send it to another show. No, just automatic termination, right? So you kind of can't help but wonder if that's where we're getting ready to head in the TLC. I definitely would try to go in that direction on TLC, but we'll have to wait and see how everything goes. But yeah, it's a little bit frustrating right now. I like the line, by the way, that Lana had said to the police officers when Lashley afterwards, he got his ass kicked by Rusev, and I think Rusev says something along the lines of, you guys had one job. You guys had one freaking responsibility and you didn't do it. And he was so pissed off that he actually shoulder bumped the hell out of one of the cops, and they basically arrested him right there on the spot. Lana's not liking this and all that, and she tries to speak her piece and says, yeah, you guys shouldn't be arresting him. What are you guys doing? If you're going to arrest him, then you're going to have to arrest me too, or whatever the hell it was she said. But I just know she smacked the hell out of the black cop. And that pretty much had got her a handcuff too. But there was one line that she said that I laughed my ass off during that. She said that Lashley was the only guy she's ever been with. And I just couldn't help but so the other guy from all of these years you've been with in Rusev, well, he's not a man. He doesn't count. I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm a little bit kind of confused right now. So, and sadly, I need to respond to this real quick. Right now, and sadly, after I'm off to bed. Hang on a second here, guys. This is one of the Patreon members. Hang on a second. Anyway, so piece of advice: if you guys ever need me to do a favor for you guys, the more specific instructions you can give me, the better. I can't stress that enough. I'm all for helping people, but the more instructions you give me, the better. That is the news and tip of the day. That's very important. You want me to help you out, be very, very specific, because when you give me instructions, I follow it to a T, and then it turns out there was something else. That's not good. I want to get it right the first time. All right, so anyway, there's really nothing else I have to add with regards to Raw tonight. So on that note, you guys got to forgive me if I don't talk a little bit more about Raw. I've said everything I've needed to say about the show tonight. There's really nothing else, but there is plenty of headlines we can get into now as a result of what was going on with Starrcade. In case you guys had missed it, over the weekend there was a WWE 24 special on Trish Stratus, and it was documenting her final moments leading up to that match that she had and everything, and her feeling as though that pretty much was her bon voyage and all that. As you guys saw that watch Raw tonight, they did a encore of that. Now, sadly, I didn't know anything about the Trish Stratus special until I was watching Raw tonight. So I definitely, while I was on a mini break, I definitely would have tried to slide that in there as possible, as much as humanly possible, to watch it. But Wednesday night, when we come on back and we're talking TakeOver and we're talking AEW, I will gladly by then, I'll let you guys know what I had thought about that. And also, while we're talking about WWE Network and everything, there is in case you missed it on Twitter, Steve Austin and Goldberg had shared the news. The next Broken Skull sessions that's going to be dropping this month is Goldberg. Goldberg is going to be sitting down with Steve Austin. I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to hear a lot of the stories. I mean, for me, the one story that I want to hear about more in detail, I want to hear about that first go round that Goldberg finally came into the WWE. I want to hear, and I mean, yeah, he's given little bits and pieces over the years, but there's just something about sitting down with Steve Austin. Steve Austin can just bring the best out of people and everything, and he can either bring new elements, new layers to a story or whatever. I want to hear from Bill Goldberg how his emotions were leading up to that infamous WrestleMania match with Brock Lesnar. And I've been very consistent with this over the years, and longtime listeners know this. That match, I remember it vividly as if it were yesterday. There were so many of us back then that looked at that match, and when we found out what we found out about Goldberg and Lesnar both leaving the company at the same time, Lesnar wanting to go back to, trying to see if he can, he was trying to see if he can maybe have a career in football. Goldberg just going off and trying to do other things, we felt very betrayed by what they were doing. We felt very hurt. We didn't understand. We had given them our time, our respect, and as far as merchandise goes, we were definitely representing, coughing up our money for these guys and everything. So it was heartbreaking for us to see these two guys roll out, and we retaliated the best way that we knew how, which was we booed the fuck out of these guys. We shitted on them. We shitted on the entire match. We didn't care for the match. To be quite honest with you, we did not care about the match. We just, bye. You guys are leaving. Fuck you. You're not really down with the WW. I can't remember if it was F or E at that point, but it was, you're not down with us. You two guys can suck it. Get the hell out of here. We don't care about you guys. And it wouldn't be until a few years after that, and I had the opportunity to go back and watch that match. I don't care what anybody says. That match, and that's what makes this world so fucking awesome. We don't have to agree on everything. But when it comes to having a healthy debate, we should be able to sit down and point, counterpoint. And even if we don't come on over to that other person's side, we should at least be able to say, well, it was a great talk, right? But for me, after I years removed, ended up watching the match again, and I had it on mute. I'm going, wow, this actually wasn't that bad of a match. Scale of 1 to 10, I probably had put the match, and I hope I'm consistent with the rating here, but I had the match being at most a 6.5, maybe a 7 out of 10. You know, a bit of an average match, you know, it wasn't the shit by any means. And so I want to know more about what was going on in his head. You know, the circumstances surrounding his exit, obviously, being frustrated with how he was booked. I want to hear all of that stuff. I want to hear all of that. But I want to know more about what was his mindset. You know, how was he feeling with the fans reacting the way that they were reacting? I want to know more about, hey, they had that WCW angle and they were obviously missing some big names from that. You know, Sting, a few other people. I want to hear more about that. There's so much I want to hear with regards to Goldberg. So that's definitely, I want to know more about Matt Riddle. I'm hoping for a straight up shoot on Matt Riddle. So there's a lot I'm looking forward to. I have a very good idea where that conversation is going to go, and they should be able to hit all of those points. And I can't remember if I was talking about it here or if I was talking about it on social media, but there were a few other names that I was looking at further down the road. And off the break, CM Punk would be somebody I would like to see on a future episode of Broken Skull Sessions. That would just be freaking killer. I would love to see that. And I've been reading his book, and I definitely want to give him a plug right now. And I've been reading Mayor Kane, My Life in Wrestling and Politics. Kane, Glenn Jacobs. It's been a fantastic read so far. I actually had got advanced copies of this, and I actually, it's been a great read. I'm halfway done. I got it just a couple of days before the Thanksgiving holiday and everything. And actually, let me put that in front of the camera a little bit more here, because I see just now you guys couldn't really see there. And it's been a great read. It's about 300 pages. And like I said, I'm halfway done. I got this just a couple of days after Thanksgiving, and I've enjoyed it so far. I've already left a review. If you guys have iTunes, you can actually see my review for it right now. And I also put a review up on Amazon. And Amazon usually takes about 2-3 days. But it's basically the same review. I didn't have to limit the text characters or anything like that. So, but yes, go ahead. Check that out if you haven't already. And the other point I was getting ready to make with regards to Kane's book there is I actually ended up buying, because I'm usually on the go these days. Yeah, I'm very rare I'm sitting down, and when I am sitting down, that's like usually the time where I'm usually doing other stuff. So usually when I'm on the go, I'm going to and from somewhere. Usually my tablet is with me, and that's the time where I really like to kick back and catch up on some reading and other stuff. So I actually have the iPad version of his book. The PDF version, I guess, is what I can say. I bought the official PDF version of his book for my iPad. And so, yeah, it's with me wherever I go. And he's another one that I would like to see on the Broken Skull sessions. I know based off of the first episode, Steve Austin basically had said the origins of Broken Skull, you know, what the show is basically about. And essentially it's about talking to people that were at the very top of their game, that were very successful, a draw and all that other stuff. And I think Kane, to a certain degree, fits that mold. And not to mention, it's strengthening the relationship that Kane Glenn Jacobs has with WWE and everything. Also puts a little bit of the spotlight on his book, and all of that kind of gets more good publicity out there and everything. But not to mention, I think it would be a really cool ass story for the two of them to be able to sit down. And if there's one thing I really would like to hear more, the Paul Bearer influence. I want to hear more about that. We had Undertaker, and Undertaker probably did cover it, because remember, Steve Austin, when he was talking to the Undertaker on his podcast, that was like a 4-hour freaking show. So what we had got with the first episode of Broken Skull Sessions, you guys know that was just a freaking appetizer. There's no telling how much more footage they have. I know they released an exclusive clip about Undertaker telling a story on Bruiser Brody, if I remember it right. And I love it. I won't spoil that for you guys. Go check that out. But yeah, Kane would be another one. CM Punk is definitely one I would like to hear from. Just for me personally. I would also like to hear. Part of me wants to hear Eric Bischoff, but it's kind of we've kind of already gone down that path. I kind of want more fresher people that really have been kind of not really out there in the spotlight, people that really haven't been talking like that per se, right? So just kind of looking at the rest of the roster, thinking about all of the people that have come through over the years. Now, I tell you what, I'll tell you this much. I would love for the Hulkster to be on there, because I want to hear about a couple of things. I want for Steve Austin to really tap into what was going on during his dark periods of time. I want to hear more about the N-word. I want to hear basically as far as reimagining, rebuilding himself, rebranding himself, trying to be a better interpretation of Terry Bollea than the Terry Bollea years prior leading up to dropping the N-word. I want to hear what he's doing to be a better contributor to society, be a better person overall. I want to hear all of those things. So I think that would be a very fascinating conversation as well. But I mean, there's so many avenues you could go down. Hell, I know when Steve Austin and Triple H sat down, that was pretty good. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to that as well. But yeah, definitely, I can't wait to see how that Steve Austin and Goldberg joint goes. I think that's going to be pretty good. And also, while we are talking about WWE and everything, there's a guy I want you to check out. His name is Justin Leeper. And you should be able to pull him up on YouTube very easily. And as a matter of fact, if you bear with me a quick second, I will actually look up my history and I'll be able to tell you all his YouTube handle. And I want you guys to peep him out. I don't think he has anything more to say with regards to what all had went down. It seems like it's pretty much exhausted. But the guy I want you to check out, he's got a couple of videos on YouTube.
Hello, Justin.
The guy I want you to check out, his name is Violent Lee. And no, that's not me. It's I know I sound white sometimes, but it's not me, and you can see him clear as day in his videos. His name is Violent Lee, and he has shed a lot of light on what's been going on with WWE 2K. And one of the most recent videos that he had talked about, he talked about the whole process, and it pretty much, he doubled down what a lot of us already knew based on some of the interviews that some of the superstars had shared, that some of the in-game designers and all had shared from over the years, which is by the time we get these WWE 2K games, okay, we're like day of release, we're going and we're picking it up off the shelf, or we're asking for it from behind the counter. Sadly, they're already working on the next game. They are already working on the next game. Okay, so Justin Leeper, that's the guy's name. He used to work as a writer on the SmackDown vs. Raw series, and he posted a video claiming that members of the WWE 2K20 development team have quit. And he also noted that the budget for WWE 2K21 is going to be slashed dramatically due to the poor performance, sales included, of WWE 2K20. Now, just a couple of key bullet points here. He said 2K and the people within it are trying to distance themselves from it. I've heard about double-digit people who were on the team who have quit. They haven't left for other stuff. They just quit because they don't want the stench, the funk. They don't want that stink on them anymore. He also noted that 2K20 is selling poorly, and it's doing poorly all around. I'm sure you guys have seen many of the reviews. I'm sure you all saw what's the one site that you guys like, Metric something or whatever. It's basically in the low 40s, which is considered extremely bad. This means the budget is going to be cut. It means 2K21 is going to have to be made for less money to fix things, innovate. And now there are about 10 less people on the team. As you can tell, the outlook is not good for 2K21 either. So, I mean, he shed a lot of light on things. And there's also this myth that he debunked about, oh, well, why doesn't THQ, some weird name, I forget it, Nordic or whatever the hell the name is. He was like, well, why don't they just step in and reclaim taking over the WWE 2K series and everything? He said, hey, that division that you're talking about, they are not THQ. They never were THQ. And he gives you the breakdown history of how that company had came to be. He did about maybe 4 fascinating videos total, talking about everything that's 2K20 related. And look, I'll tell you straight up, if you ask me, and see, I would love to be, because I think when they do these things where they're talking with veteran 2K or WWE gamers of whatever, take your pick, SmackDown versus Raw, or SmackDown Know Your Role, or whatever the game you want to call it, they usually have these little roundtable focus group meetings out in California. If they were doing it on the East Coast, I would be there in a heartbeat. If it was PA, if it was New York, hell, it could even be Chicago, I would entertain it, and I would fucking go if the invitation was given to me. But California is so freaking far. But I would say to them straight up, and I would implore them straight up to, look, why not do this? Don't be like Madden. And Madden is at the point now where it's just, you can miss 5, 6, 7, 10 freaking years. You are essentially still playing the same game. There really has not been anything done to really shake the game up and really take it to that next level of fucking awesomeness, right? I think for me personally, the last time Madden was really good, for me, just for me, the last time it was good was when they were having the competition from ESPN That was the last time for me it was really, really good. So I'm kind of definitely showing my age a little bit and my history a little bit. I can remember that was the most exciting time to still be a fan of Madden, to the point where people would be waiting at their nearby GameStop or EB, and they would be waiting for it to open up because they would be doing a midnight, whatever you call it. They would be having a midnight release. And sometimes there'd be a little bit of a party. They'd be giving away some prizes, all that other shit. It's died down a lot over the years when you go into the later Madden titles and everything. But no, they should go on ahead already, and they should start making WWE 2K be a game that gets a total overhaul and all of that jazz every 3 years. That's the way you do it. I think the future of 2K needs to be, look at what DC has been able to do with DC Universe. That is a brilliant fucking video game. And all of these years that have passed, and they have just been able to continue to come out with new content, with new content, with new patches. They stay on top of the patches. They give you great DLC opportunities. I think that 2K needs to go in that direction. I mean, after all, that's really where we are now with a lot of these games. A lot of these fans can really stop and think about it. A lot of these fans, especially the wrestling fans, they want to have a game in their hands that best represents, to almost 100% accuracy, the current roster that they're seeing on TV across all of those brands every single week. That's what they want. And to be able to go into that game and said player is not in there, not yet, oh man, that sucks. And then they have to settle for a created wrestler in the marketplace, and it's kind of not really the same thing, but hey, it's cool. At least you're supporting a fellow creator and everything, and you're downloading that, right? But they want the most accurate game that represents the product that they're seeing every single week. So I think it's very important that 2K kind of takes a step back, and if they can get WWE's blessing on it and everything, go in that direction. Release something that comes out every couple of years that gives you all the opportunities in the world to work out any kinks, continue to stay on top of the patches and testing the maximum limits of these next gen consoles and all of that jazz, right? So until they do something like that, I think for the foreseeable future, it's going to continue to go down, 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 down. I sadly did not really play religiously the last WWE 2K games, and I was really invested in this one. I said, hey, I'm definitely going to play this one. I'm looking forward to it, and I got to tell you, first impressions mean a lot. After I went through a couple of gameplay modes, you guys remember that I was checking out the Twitch stream. After I did a couple of game modes and all that, it was pretty much, yeah, okay. And I haven't picked it up since. I've gotten more joy out of playing WWE Supercard, a game that is now 6 years old. I'm still getting more bang for my buck out of that game, to the point I still kick in a little bit of money from time to time on it, as opposed to what I'm doing with 2K20. So I'm playing anything else but 2K20 right now. So the fact that I can't sit down and play that game, like I usually play all of them. So the fact that I can't really sit down and play it like that, yeah, they got a serious problem. They maybe should consider going in that respective direction. Will they go in that direction? I don't know. I'd be shocked if we're still here talking about their practices 5 to 7 years from now and they haven't totally just gone the route of DC Universe. But that's definitely the route that they need to go, without a shadow of doubt. Some other quick little tidbits of news I want to share with you all real quick here. Showbuzz Daily, they got the new reports out there for AEW and NXT. So the way it is looking, AEW had drew a 0.26 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. and they had 600, see here, it was like 663,000 viewers, down 33%. And last week's 0.39 demo rating and 893,000 viewers. Meanwhile, NXT did a 0.24 demo rating and had 810,000 viewers, down 20% and 10% from last week's 0.30 and 916,000 viewers. So in a nutshell, because I know that was probably, especially at the time that we're recording the show and you guys are watching live, it's a lot of math, man. What are you trying to say, dude? So in a nutshell, for a second consecutive week, NXT has beaten AEW. And, you know, I'm not going to say that I was shocked. I'm not going to say that. What I was expecting was for AEW to beat NXT just by a little bit, because I figured that the majority of fans would go, well, those guys from Raw and SmackDown, they're not going to be on NXT this week because now the whole Survivor Series brand supremacy thing is over. So I thought for sure they were going to go all mainly going to AEW. But like I said on last week's show, it's a telling tale, and I briefly talked about this on Twitter earlier today. And in case you guys don't have Twitter, I'll tell you guys exactly what I had posted on there. What I had posted earlier, I said ratings, and from last week I see NXT wins for a second consecutive week. NXT 810,000, AEW 663,000. Like I said on the show last week, AEW has so many issues: character development, storyline, or lack of, and consistency is greatest flaws, of which NXT has capitalized on for now. And I'll use the keywords for now. Now, I am not a AEW Kool-Aid drinker. I am not a NXT Kool-Aid drinker. Give me any wrestling promotion, I'll do my best to check it out, right? I try to cover all of them. I try to check out all of them that I can, right? And for me, just pointing out some of the obvious with AEW, you know, again, the character development, really establishing your baby faces, really establishing your heels, going outside of just relying on basically your founding members of AEW, going more outside the Cody, the Brandy, the Bucks, Omega, Moxley, going outside of those. And okay, so who are we really elevating? Who are we? And then also the consistency in your storytelling / booking. So 1 minute we see Sunny Kiss, and then no, oh hey, where's Nyla Rose? 1 minute, and then these cats are gone for weeks. And then the other thing, and shout out to Sean, I was talking to Sean about this earlier today, and I'm like so fucking there with him. The other thing that AEW needs to stop doing, just for now, until they really establish their rosters more, which is another one-up that NXT has over AEW right now, which is every time you turn around, somebody new is popping up on AEW. And it's, you know, you get kind of confused after a while and everything, and you're like, okay, so, well, you know, why should I care? You know, why should I be invested in these people? I don't really, you know what's going on here. So I'm not saying you got to wait a whole year just to introduce somebody new, but okay, you premiered what, in October, and here we are, it's December, and you're still pumping out new people that's popping up. It's you know what, work with what you have, with your core, with your core guys, all those guys that was on the front cover of whatever Vanity or TV Guide, whatever the hell that front cover magazine was, and they all were hitting that 90210 pose or whatever. All right, let them be your main guys. Build those guys up as best as you can, but also have it trickle down to some other guys that's making out your whole roster as well. Ride that out for about 6-7 months, then you go on ahead and you slide in some new cats as well. So, you know, until they really start getting a better grasp on some of those things, This is going to continue to be a problem for them, but I think it's something. If you ask me straight up, is AEW up for the challenge and rectifying? Yes, I do. But I think the bigger question that we need to ask right now is how soon are they going to, oh, nice. How soon are they going to be able to make these improvements and stay with them? And again, the consistency, the storyline consistency, and all of that. So until they kind of master all of those things, yes, is all I have to say with regards to that. So, hey, good for NXT. If you're an NXT fan, that is great news. And if you're not a NXT fan, you're an AEW fan. I mean, look, man, hopefully Cody and them, they are listening to the feedback and they are doing their very best to try to improve this as much as humanly possible. We were teasing Starrcade earlier. I want to give you guys some quick results here. So Seth Rollins had defeated Eric Rowan, which, by the way, didn't really look like Seth Rollins was stirring the pot tonight, did it? Called out Seth Rollins on Raw, and I can't believe I almost forgot about that. You know, he called him out, and AOP popping in there once again, not laying their hands on Seth Rollins. Rollins trying to do the right thing, apologize to Kevin Owens, and AOP issuing out that challenge there, but Kevin Owens saying, nah, there's only 3 scenarios the way this is going to play out, and all of it ends in me getting my ass kicked, so let's just, go ahead, kick my ass right now. Seth Rollins pretty much left Kevin Owens high and dry there. I can't believe I almost have forgot about that spot there. So we see Seth Rollins basically take his ball and roll out, so to speak. We didn't see him again for the rest of the night there. So a nice little interesting development that's continuing to happen there with the Seth Rollins character. I know one thing. And it's kind of my biggest fear, but WWE Backstage this Tuesday night, Seth Rollins is going to be on there. Okay, so obviously he's going to be stirring the pot a little bit more with this storyline here. He's going to be a little bit more unchained and really bring it on the FS1 show. Also, something that's going to be interesting is Stephen Amell, the Green Arrow dude. He's actually going to be on there. He's going to be part of the promo segment there where he's going to be ranked and all that, or graded. So that should be good. Shinsuke Nakamura had defeated The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. Street Profits defeated the OC. Kabuki Warriors defeated Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, and Alexa Bliss. Wait, no, I messed that up. Kabuki Warriors defeated Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, Bayley and Sasha Banks, that's the name I was missing, and Alexa Bliss with Nikki Cross. It was a fatal 4-way match for the women's tag titles. Bobby Lashley defeated Rusev via forfeit, last man standing match. Bobby Lashley defeated Kevin Owens by disqualification. Aleister Black defeated Andrade. Ricochet defeated Andrade. Randy Orton defeated AJ Styles, and Roman Reigns had defeated King Corbin. Meanwhile, main event, The Fiend Bray Wyatt defeated Braun Strowman. It was a steel cage match for the WWE Universal Championship. Some of those matches, by the way, were dark matches. Just want to make a note of that. So take, for instance, the Ricochet Andrade. That was dark. Randy Orton, AJ Styles was dark. Roman Reigns, King Corbin, that was dark. Did I mention Aleister Black and Andrade? Hopefully I did, because Aleister Black, Andrade, dark. Ricochet, Andrade, dark. Again, Aleister Black, Andrade, dark. Ricochet, Andrade, dark. And we'll make sure we really kind of stress that, because I know some of you guys, it's late at night when you're watching live, so it's kind of like, wait, what? I got you guys. So other than that, I'm just seeing if there's any other little tidbits that we want to cover before we get ready to wrap it up here. And no, there's really nothing else. Luckily, it's been kind of quiet during the whole holiday break, so there's really nothing else we need to really dive into for now. There's going to be a couple of more tidbits I'll be able to dive into on Wednesday's show, covering NXT Fallout. We'll cover AEW Dynamite Fallout. We'll also talk some MLW, right? Talk about them. We'll also talk about Impact Wrestling because it's back to business as usual for Impact, which, by the way, that reminds me, this Tuesday's Impact Wrestling has a pretty good card. We're going to see Brian Cage take on Eddie Edwards. ODB makes her return to Impact. You got the X Division champion Ace Austin and Reno Scum versus the Rascals. Johnny Swinger takes on Petey Williams, and Knockouts champion Taya Valkyrie will be in action. She'll be defending her title, so that should be pretty good. Also, shout out to the 2020 Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame inductees for 2020. The names include Jake the Snake Roberts, Magnum TA. You also got the Bushwhackers, Dory Funk Jr., King Curtis and Killer Carl Cox. You've got Kabuki, Debbie Combs, and Luna Vachon. So that should be pretty damn good. I hope that they're going to try to stream that on Fight TV. I actually wouldn't mind checking that out. Hey, let's get into some Patreon shout outs, and let's also get into some sponsor shout outs as we get ready to wrap it up here. We're doing pretty good. I think we did pretty good on time. So I mean, at this point, we've been on almost an hour 15. Am I reading that right? Yeah, we've almost been on an hour 15. So we actually are sticking to the schedule tonight. Yay! I like when we're able to stick to the schedule tonight. All right, so first off, I want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors for this episode of the RCWR show, because we love them as much as we love our Patreon members as well. So let's give those guys a shout out. First off, I want to give a shout out to LeafyAssets.com. Once again, LeafyAssets.com. If you are a real estate investor or entrepreneur, they can help protect your assets and strategically grow your business and wealth. Check them out, LeafyAssets.com. Also, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is brought to you in part by 52 Reasons to Live, Why Greatness Refuses to Die by Jesse Martinez. The book gives a weekly dose of encouragement if you're feeling sad, stressed, uncertain, anxious, and overwhelmed by the issues of life. This book is also full of encouragement for you or a friend facing difficult times and needing help finding the positive in the middle of the chaos of life. You can preserve, build courage, and grow hope every week. Pick up your copy today on Amazon, or you can visit the website aspireandreachformore.com to check out that book and other books. And keep in mind that Jesse Martinez is a licensed psychiatrist, so there are those of you that maybe need a little bit more help that goes outside of those books. I'm sure she definitely would be able to give you some type of consultation. So best of luck to you with regards to whatever personal things is going on in your life, by the way. Hope you're able to get through that okay. Also, shout out to my favorite guys, petfoodio.com. If you are a dog owner and lover and you love spoiling your best friend, I know I do. I spoiled her good today at the grocery store, got all her favorites. Check out, and I'm actually going to be making the recipe as we get closer to Christmas. I'm actually going to be making these desserts. I'll be recording some stuff and uploading it and everything. But check this out, petfoodio.com. Use our unique URL, petfoodio.com/the RCWR show. I'll put that link in the chat and it'll be in the episode description. Check it out because we're giving away a free, that's right, free, you like free, don't you? Cookbook to make 10 doggy desserts that your pet will love. It comes with easy instructions, nice, cool, colorful pictures. Man, by the time you get done making this, you're going to love it. Your pet's going to love you. Guaranteed. So check that out. petfoodio.com/RCWR show. I love hearing the updates from these guys because these guys, they've been, Lee, man, whatever you're doing, man. Oh, we got people, they've been using the URL and, oh, man, they're actually representing. So check that out. Good stuff right there. Also, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is brought to you in part by, I can't forget about my good friends behind the movie President Evil. Check that out. You can see the trailer and buy the movie on Amazon.com. The story basically chronicles three girls that are stalked by a deranged serial killer dressed as the president of the United States during the November midterm elections. It's got satire, dark humor, definitely heavy on the comedy. So check that out. Check it out on Amazon. I don't believe I am forgetting anybody else. So appreciate all of you sponsors out there. Much love to you guys. And shout out to our Patreon familia. Shout out to Patreon members John Krauser. Shout out to John Krauser. Also, shout out to Sean Kenter, Justin Ripstock. Shout out to Freddie R. Freddie! Freddie, I received the upgrade for Patreon. Appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much. And shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. And did I mention John Davis? I usually like to say his name twice, just for the hell of it. John Davis, there you go. I just said it twice again. Shout out to all of our Patreon guys. All of these guys and our sponsors, they make episodes like what you're checking out right now possible. And by the way, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus content, man. Great majority of which you won't be able to find anywhere else. Now, we are doing a free-for-all. I want to give you heads up right now. I want to give you all a heads up. Me and Tammy sat down earlier tonight, and we recorded the A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, starring Tom Hanks. We're going to make that be a free-for-all. That actually is going to be available for y'all to check out Tuesday evening after I get situated with work and everything. So be on the lookout for that. I'll make sure, if you follow me on social media, even on YouTube, I'll make sure I have the link posted for you guys so you can check that out. It's basically part 1 of 2. Part 1 consists of just reviewing that movie. And then part 2, which is going to be a Patreon exclusive, we're also going to be reviewing the 2018 Mr. Rogers documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor? So yeah, great little 1-2 punch that we're doing to basically kick off the month of December. I know The Irishman had came out. I've came this close a few times to watching it with the missus, because originally I was going to watch it by myself, but she is a big Pacino, De Niro fan, Joe Pesci fan as well, but she's really heavy on Pacino and De Niro, and she was, I want to watch it with you. I said, okay, well, just a heads up, it's 3.5 hours. Oh man, I got work in the morning. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just saying, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on with her schedule so we can actually sit down and watch it. So I'm hoping that sometime in the next, I'll tell you what I'm really hoping for. I'm really hoping that tomorrow night, since she gets off work a little early, I'm really hoping that by the time I get in from work, so I don't have to worry about a show or anything, we can sit down and we can watch it then and there, and then maybe we can record something Thursday morning or something like that. So I'm trying to do my best to review that though, because I'm looking forward to watching it and talking about it, letting you guys know what I had thought about that movie and everything. That's going to be another Patreon exclusive as well. All right, so on that note, guys, that is going to do it. We're about 3 minutes over, but that's okay. We kind of had a little bit of a false start earlier there. Your next edition, Wednesday night, December 4th, after NXT, AEW goes off the air. Be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads. And you can get at me on Twitter at the RCWR Show, Facebook, Instagram as well. Use the same name. And that's going to do it. If you're waiting for the audio version of this, I'm not going to have it be available until Tuesday night. Appreciate everybody that was in the chat interacting. Shout out to Gino. Shout out to Austie. Shout out to JG. You know exactly who you are. And everybody else that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the downloads. That's going to do it, guys. Very good night, a very good morning. Check y'all out next go round. Y'all take care.